Listen carefully because this is not a small message and it is not something you should overlook. There is someone deeply tied to your heart, and right now they are carrying a weight that has grown heavier than they can quietly manage alone. It is affecting their thoughts, it is affecting their inner peace, and even if you don't fully see it yet, it is also affecting you in subtle ways. Something is shifting behind the scenes, something real is unfolding in silence. You may already feel it through small signs, sudden thoughts that appear without reason, old memories coming back out of nowhere, or a strange heaviness you cannot explain. That feeling is not random, it is a signal. It is showing you that this connection is moving through a deep phase of change. Stay with this message because what you are hearing may help you understand what your heart has been trying to process for a long time. Don't rush it. Don't dismiss it too quickly. Something important is developing, even if it is still invisible on the surface. And yes, you might want to pause and really take this in, because it is not ordinary emotional noise. The person connected to you is dealing with confusion, pressure, and emotions they can no longer fully hide from themselves. On the outside, they may still appear normal. They may act busy, calm, and in control, as if nothing is wrong. But inside, things are shifting in a way they can no longer ignore. Thoughts they tried to push away are slowly returning. Emotions they buried are rising again. This is not asking you to panic, but to understand. There is an internal struggle happening between comfort and truth. For a long time, they tried to move forward without fully facing what they felt. They told themselves that staying distracted would be enough, that time alone would fix everything. But some emotions don't disappear just because they are ignored. Some connections don't lose meaning just because they are avoided. They remain alive in silence, growing quietly in the background until they demand attention again. If their behavior has felt mixed, inconsistent, or confusing, this is why. One moment they feel close, the next they pull away. One moment there is warmth, the next there is distance. It is not always about lack of care. In many cases, it is because the emotions are too strong and too complicated for them to handle clearly. When feelings become overwhelming, people don't always move closer. They sometimes step back just to breathe. Inside them, one part wants clarity and connection, while another part fears the pain that clarity might bring. This creates inner tension, confusion, and emotional hesitation they themselves struggle to explain. Keep watching closely because this kind of inner conflict often shows up before real change becomes visible on the outside. What is happening now is not empty confusion. It is pressure building toward a moment of emotional honesty they cannot avoid forever. Even though you cannot see everything, change is still happening. Some of the biggest emotional shifts begin silently, in private spaces no one else can observe. Like roots growing underground before a tree appears above the surface, this process is slow but real. They are starting to realize that old distractions don't work like before. Silence feels louder, avoidance feels weaker, and emotions they tried to escape are becoming harder to ignore. Something inside them is asking for truth, even if truth feels uncomfortable at first. Because once a person truly sees what they've been avoiding, they can't fully go back to pretending everything is fine. Right now, your role is not to force answers or rush clarity. It is not to chase something that is still unfolding. Your role is to stay steady while things settle into place on their own. That is real strength. Not emotional chaos, not fear-driven action, but calm patience, even in uncertainty. This phase is shaping both sides in different ways. One side is learning emotional responsibility and honesty. The other side is learning patience, balance, and trust without losing themselves in fear. These lessons are not easy, but they are important. And yes, you might feel tempted to overthink everything, to search for meaning in every silence. But not everything needs immediate answers. Sometimes the right outcome only forms when you stop forcing it. Many people lose something meaningful not because it was never real, but because they reacted too quickly when things felt uncertain. They let fear decide instead of understanding. They made decisions in confusion that they later wished they had delayed. So don't let impatience write the ending before the full truth arrives. Stay grounded. Stay aware. Let things unfold at their own pace. Because what is developing here is still in motion, still forming, still becoming visible step by step. If your heart has been restless, let yourself slow down a little. If your thoughts have been running in circles, building stories and assumptions, step back from them for a moment. If you feel pulled toward expecting the worst, pause right there and choose patience instead. This is not the time to break your own peace through fear. This is the time to protect it while truth unfolds at its own pace, without force, without pressure. And if these words are reaching something deep inside you, stay with them a little longer, because there is more happening underneath what you can currently see. Something is still forming in the background, and yes, you might want to listen closely here, because this part matters more than it seems at first. The truth is, the person connected to your heart is becoming emotionally tired. Tired of carrying unfinished feelings, tired of replaying old memories again and again in silence, tired of acting like certain emotions no longer exist, tired of wondering what could have been different, tired of holding something inside them that was never fully resolved. This kind of emotional exhaustion is important, because sometimes reaching that breaking point is exactly what makes avoidance stop working. A person can only push their feelings away for so long before ignoring them becomes more painful than facing them. And that is the stage they are slowly approaching. They may not fully understand it yet. They may still resist it. They may still move back and forth between clarity and confusion, but something inside them is quietly shifting direction. What once felt safe is starting to feel uncertain. What they once avoided is starting to feel harder to ignore. The comfort zone they protected for so long is no longer as comforting as it used to be, and slowly, the truth they kept away is beginning to feel more real than the silence they stayed in. When this shift fully begins, things can move faster than expected. A conversation that once felt impossible can suddenly become possible. A truth that stayed hidden for a long time can rise to the surface without warning. A guarded heart can begin to soften again, step by step. So, if things have felt slow until now, don't assume they will stay that way forever. And if distance has been between you, don't believe it has to remain permanent. Long silence often comes right before real change begins to show itself. Right now, your role is not to force outcomes or chase clarity that is not ready yet. Your role is to stay steady while everything unfolds naturally in its own time. That is real strength. Not panic, not emotional reaction, but calm awareness even when things feel uncertain. And yes, you might feel tempted to read into everything, to analyze every silence, every delay, every small shift. But not everything needs an immediate answer. Some answers only become clear when you stop trying to control the timing. So stay grounded here, because what is developing is still in motion, still building, still becoming. There are also outside influences affecting their state of mind, and not all of them are helpful. Some voices encourage reflection, honesty, and emotional growth. Others pull them back into comfort, distraction, and avoidance. Some situations push them to think more deeply about their life. Others make it easier for them to escape into busyness so they don't have to face what is really inside them. This is one reason their energy may feel inconsistent. One day they seem clear and certain. The next day they pull back again. One moment they feel ready to face everything honestly. The next moment fear returns, and hesitation takes over again. Don't mistake this hesitation for absence of feeling. In many cases, it is the result of feeling too much at once without knowing how to process it properly. They are struggling with vulnerability. They are struggling with emotional responsibility. They are struggling with what life will require from them if they finally speak the truth. That fear is real, but it is not permanent. Eventually, truth becomes stronger than fear. And when that happens, things begin to shift in ways that can no longer be ignored. You may start noticing small changes first. A slightly different tone in their voice, a message that feels more honest than before, a moment of softness that seems unexpected, a shift in energy that feels more real, more grounded. Pay attention to these small signs because they often carry more meaning than big actions. Change rarely arrives all at once. It builds slowly, step by step, sometimes uneven, sometimes uncertain, but even the smallest step forward is still movement. And if you only wait for perfect clarity, you might miss the early signs of real transformation. Stay aware, stay open, because change often whispers before it speaks loudly. And while all of this is happening with them, something important is also happening inside you. This situation is shaping you too. You are learning how to protect your peace without shutting down your heart. You are learning to trust your own judgment instead of constantly searching for reassurance. You are learning to stay emotionally steady even when answers take longer than expected. These lessons are not easy, but they stay with you long after this phase passes. So, move with patience. Keep your heart open without losing yourself in uncertainty. Keep your mind clear without letting fear take control. Allow time to do its work without rushing what is not ready yet. In the end, what is meant to become clear will reveal itself on its own. And when it does, you will understand why the waiting mattered. It has prepared you for moments like this, where emotional balance matters far more than emotional reaction. That kind of balance is not built in a day. It forms slowly through experience, reflection, and learning from situations that once felt overwhelming. So do not ignore how far you have come. Do not only focus on what still feels unclear or unfinished. Instead, look at your own growth. Notice how your reactions are different now. Notice how your heart does not instantly fall into fear like before. Notice how you can now sit with uncertainty without letting it break your inner peace. That shift is real progress. And yes, stay with this for a moment because this is where your strength is quietly forming. That inner stability will matter when the next phase of this journey starts to unfold. And that next phase may not arrive in the dramatic way people often imagine. It may not come through big confessions or emotional outbursts. Instead, it may begin in a very simple way. A message, a calm conversation, a moment where silence suddenly feels heavier than honesty. And when that moment comes, don't expect everything to be perfect. Expect realness instead. Expect human emotion. Expect pauses, unfinished thoughts, and truth coming out step by step instead of all at once. Most people don't reveal everything in one moment. They reveal it slowly, piece by piece, until a clearer picture starts forming over time. Sometimes the first sign of change is not a grand confession. Sometimes it is just someone finally stopping their habit of running away from their feelings. And even that small shift matters deeply. Because when avoidance starts to fade, awareness begins to grow. And when awareness grows, movement begins inside the situation. So if that moment arrives, don't just listen to the words being said. Listen to what is underneath them. Feel the emotion behind them. Notice the effort it took to be honest. Notice the shift from silence toward expression. Notice how truth begins to replace fear, even if it is still unsteady and incomplete. This is important because real change often does not look powerful at first. It does not always come with strong statements or perfect clarity. Sometimes it comes through hesitation. Sometimes it comes through imperfect honesty, where someone finally admits something they have been carrying inside for a long time, something they never had the courage to say before. That kind of honesty may feel small on the surface, but it can carry deep meaning underneath. So stay steady. Don't let old fears distort new truth. And yes, you might want to pause here and really take that in because this is where understanding becomes important. Even now, while things may still feel quiet or uncertain, movement is happening behind the scenes. Something is slowly shifting direction, even if it is not fully visible yet. And when that change finally becomes clear, your emotional stability will matter more than anything else. It will guide how you respond. It will help you choose wisdom instead of panic. There is a reason recent days have felt heavier. There is a reason your intuition feels stronger. There is a reason certain memories, thoughts, and emotions keep returning without warning. None of it is random. It is part of a deeper process that asks for awareness, not confusion. This phase is not only about emotions, it is also about personal growth. It is about facing what has been avoided. It is about learning what is real and what cannot stay hidden anymore. The pressure you feel is not here to destroy anything meaningful. Instead, it is revealing what is genuine and what is no longer stable enough to remain in silence. Fear pushes people toward quick reactions. It creates assumptions. It wants instant protection, even if it leads to misunderstanding. But wisdom moves differently. Wisdom asks you to stay grounded, observe carefully, and wait until truth becomes clear, instead of reacting too fast. And this difference matters now more than ever. Because what is unfolding is not just emotional confusion, it is also a growth process for both sides. It is about becoming more aware. It is about noticing repeated patterns. It is about learning better ways to respond when emotions become strong. This pressure is not here to break the connection. It is exposing what is real and what can no longer stay hidden. That is why emotions feel closer to the surface. That is why small moments feel more meaningful. That is why silence sometimes feels heavy instead of empty. Underneath all of this, growth is quietly taking place. Growth within you, growth within them, growth within the connection itself. And growth is rarely comfortable while it is happening. It is not neat. It is not predictable. It often feels confusing before it starts making sense. Clarity does not arrive instantly. It builds slowly through time, through choices, through small, honest moments that gradually shape a bigger picture. Little by little, things begin to shift, even when it doesn't feel obvious yet. Stay with it, because what is forming now is not finished yet. Everything slowly starts to make more sense, even if the full picture is still not clear. And even in that uncertainty, hold on to one simple truth, especially if waiting has made you feel tired, heavy, or unsure about what comes next. The story is not finished. It is still unfolding in real time. What happens next will depend on choices that are still forming. Their choices matter. Your choices matter. The decision to stop hiding emotions matters. The decision to speak honestly instead of building assumptions matters. The decision to face truth with openness instead of fear will shape everything that follows. And yes, this is the part you should really listen to closely, because timing is shifting here. They are arriving at a point where they must decide between staying silent or finally facing what they truly feel. And at the same time, you are also reaching a point where you must decide whether fear will control your peace or whether wisdom will guide your response. That is why this moment carries weight. Not because everything is already decided, but because something inside this situation is becoming ready to change. This is not only about their emotions, it is also about who both of you are becoming through everything you have been through. Strong connections are not truly measured in easy times. They are revealed during uncertain ones, when clarity is delayed and emotions feel mixed. If something is real, it does not simply disappear when things become difficult. Instead, it gets tested, it gets refined, it either grows stronger or it slowly fades. If you have been wondering whether anything meaningful is still happening, the answer is yes. Something is moving. Something important is shifting beneath the surface. Old silence is starting to lose its strength. Old resistance is becoming weaker. Old confusion is slowly breaking apart. And as those old layers begin to fall away, something more honest has space to appear. Something clearer, something more genuine than what was there before. When that truth begins to rise, your emotional balance will matter more than anything else. It will guide how you respond. It will help you stay calm instead of reacting too quickly. Protect your heart, but don't close it. Stay open enough to see what is real, while staying steady enough not to lose yourself in uncertainty, because the next step in this situation may come faster than expected, and when it does, you will need clarity more than fear. Keep that close as you move forward, because awareness will matter more than overthinking here. The struggle they are going through will not last forever. The confusion will not stay forever. The waiting will not continue endlessly. Every season changes, even the ones that feel slow, heavy, or unclear. Every experience teaches something at the right time, even if the lesson only becomes visible later. And no matter how this situation unfolds from here, one thing is already certain. You are more prepared now than you were when this journey first began. Everything slowly begins to make more sense, even if you still cannot see the full picture right now. And even in that in-between space of uncertainty, hold on to one steady truth, especially if waiting has left you feeling drained, restless, or unsure about what comes next. The story is not finished. It is still unfolding, moment by moment, even when it feels quiet on the surface. What happens next will depend on choices that are still being formed. Their choices matter. Your choices matter. The decision to stop hiding emotions matters. The decision to speak honestly instead of building assumptions matters. The decision to meet truth with openness instead of fear will shape the direction everything takes from here. And yes, this is the point where awareness becomes very important, because something is quietly preparing to shift. They are slowly reaching a point where they must choose between staying silent or finally facing what they truly feel inside. And at the same time, you are also reaching a point where you must decide whether fear will continue to control your peace or whether wisdom will guide how you respond. That is why this moment feels so important, not because everything is already decided, but because something is becoming ready to change. This is not just about their emotions, it is also about who both of you are becoming through everything you have experienced together. Strong connections are not proven when life is easy. They are revealed when things become uncertain, when answers take time, and when emotions become complicated and hard to read. If something is real, it does not disappear just because the situation becomes difficult. Instead, it gets tested, it gets shaped, it either becomes stronger or slowly fades away over time. If you have been wondering whether anything meaningful is still happening, the answer is yes. Something important is still moving forward beneath the surface. Old silence is beginning to lose its weight. Old resistance is becoming weaker. Old confusion is slowly starting to break apart. And as those layers fall away, something more honest finally has space to emerge. Something clearer, something more grounded, something more real than what existed before. When that truth starts to surface, your emotional balance will matter more than anything else. It will decide how you respond. It will help you stay steady instead of reacting from fear. Protect your heart, but do not close it. Stay open enough to see what is real, while staying grounded enough not to lose yourself in uncertainty. Because the next step in this situation may arrive sooner than you expect, and when it does, you will need clarity more than fear. Keep that close as you move forward, because awareness will guide you better than overthinking ever could. There is a reason things have felt heavier recently. There is a reason your intuition feels stronger. There is a reason certain memories, thoughts, and emotions keep coming back without warning. None of it is random. It is part of a deeper inner process that is asking you to pay attention instead of panic. This season is not only about emotions, it is also about growth. It is about recognizing what has been avoided for too long. It is about understanding what is real and what can no longer stay hidden in silence. The pressure you feel is not here to break anything meaningful. It is revealing what is strong enough to remain and what needs to change. Fear always pushes toward quick reactions. It creates stories before truth is clear. It tries to protect you by closing your heart too early. But wisdom moves differently. Wisdom asks you to stay calm, observe carefully, and wait until clarity arrives on its own, instead of forcing conclusions. That difference matters more now than ever. Because what is happening here is not just emotional confusion, it is also a process of personal transformation for both of you. It is about becoming more aware. It is about noticing patterns that have repeated for too long. It is about learning new ways to respond when emotions become intense and overwhelming. This pressure is not here to destroy the connection. It is revealing what is real and what can no longer stay hidden. That is why emotions feel closer to the surface. That is why small moments feel more meaningful than usual. That is why silence sometimes feels heavy instead of empty. Beneath everything, quiet growth is taking place. Growth within you, growth within them, growth within the connection itself. And growth is rarely smooth while it is happening. It often feels confusing before it begins to make sense. Clarity does not arrive all at once. It builds slowly through time, through choices, through small, honest moments that gradually create a bigger picture. Little by little, things begin to shift, even when it still feels unclear. And as everything continues to unfold, remember this: you are already more prepared now than you were when this journey first began.